So with that, we'll move on to number 3, or I'm sorry, that was the deferred action. Number 4, communication with the public. And I do have people that have signed up. This is just open time for people to address something that's on the agenda, or it does not have to be on the agenda for tonight. When you come to the podium, just state your name, and you can indicate in what capacity you're here if you'd like. Again, you do not have to speak on a topic that is on the agenda, and if you could keep your comments within a 3 to 5 minute time frame, that would be great. So we'll just go in the order that people signed up, and the first person is Mr. Dave Wagner.
My name's Wayne McLean. Would you add me to the list?
Certainly.
Good evening. My name's David Wagner. You might know me better as Wags on the Hagen Sports Network. And I'm here to talk on behalf of my best friend, Greg Hagen, even though I've worked with Greg for 27 years, the years that he's been here in Tomah. I'm not here as an employee. I'm here because Greg's my best friend. And he's facing a very tough time right now. And I think his record speaks for itself. I think pretty much everybody is aware of what he's done for this community for 27 years. But you have to know that he's a great guy. In the 27 years that I've known Greg, I've never known his character to come into question. I have never known him to be on the wrong side of the law ever. He's been totally dedicated to his business, and that means to Tomah, for 27 years. And he's made a big mistake, there's no question. But I think that 27 years of giving everything to this community, I would hope, would carry some weight to give Greg a second chance. I understand that the school board, the school district offices, right now are not letting him really carry on with his business because the equipment that he uses to broadcast from is located there. It was just relocated there last fall. It is a major move. It takes a lot. To have to go back through that right away would be very difficult and very time consuming. I just think he deserves a second chance. He's been an upstanding member of the community, as I said. It's so much more than sports. It's called Sports Network, but everybody knows everything he does from, school board and dealing with the school events, parades. I mean, you name it. If there's something going on in Tomah, it's very likely Greg Hagen is there covering it. And the city council is certainly a big part of what he does. Church services is certainly a big part of what he does. Shut-in people depend on Greg. They depend on his business to be able to watch their church services. They can't get out to go to church anymore. Those are some of his biggest supporters in the community, actually, are the shut-ins. And I think we'd like to consider them when any decision that you would make tonight. So he's had a great relationship with every mayor that has been here in the last 27 years, and especially Ed Thompson, Greg was very close to. And I'm sure if Ed was here tonight, he would be speaking in favor and in support of Greg as well. Chief Revels, Greg and I and him, and we played softball together for many years. He's had a great relationship with all of the heads of state, or whatever you call them, people who are in position of power for Tomah. I mean, Greg's had a great relationship with all of them. And like anybody, I think it's important that you remember anybody with a problem, was always told, number one, to be forthright, forthcoming, and realize you have a problem. And I want you to know that Greg, from day one, has never denied anything that he's done. He's owned up to it. He's manned up, however you want to put it. And he's sought counseling, both from counselors and from his pastors. And he's going to pay for this in a lot of ways. And I just hope that losing his livelihood, which this isn't one of them. So I guess that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Kirsten.
Bob Kirsten from Toma. I'm here to urge you to vote for the continuation of Hagen Sports Network facility use and taping of school events. I don't know Mr. Hagen other than what he does, and for Gloria Day he picks up, he tapes while we tape, and he picks up and airs the broadcast of two different services. So that's how I know him. The unfortunate part is we're talking about a very personal situation that is caught up in the public eye. And in each of our lives, we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think if we each would do some soul searching, that we would see things, whether they were large or small, that we have done in our lives, have committed, that we wish we could play over again. But that's not the case. But I want to say that, there's no accusations of stealing, selling drugs, drinking and driving, murder, assault, and battery. There's a lot of things that he is, clear of and not being judged for. As the previous gentleman spoke, that 27 years of service counts for something, and whether he has the unlimited access that had been denied or that he has supervised access is up to you folks. And I was surprised to find out that anyone except an employee had access to school property. Any trust broken, thinking that a person is without problems. We don't have to look too far in our lives, especially as a school board, because you deal with, and principals and teachers, many problems, and those problems are just not the students, and some of those problems are rather major. But you have to deal with those, and you try and hope for the better, that things will work out in these situations. And I'm just thinking that, as I said, you just don't wipe off and discard a person's service of 27 years. So I hope you consider this very well and very carefully, and do appreciate all of the efforts that you folks put forth for the community of Toma.
Thank you, Mr. Kirsten. Next is Mrs. Larkin.
Good evening. My name is Sharon Larkin. First, I want to thank all of you for the job that you do as our school board members and and let you know that this is the first time I've ever felt a need in all the years, and I've spent all my life in Toma, to come and approach the school board for anything. And that just lets you know the amount of trust that I give each and every one of you to represent the taxpayers who faithfully give you our votes. I could repeat any number of the things that have been said tonight about Greg Hagan, because every one of them is true. But I want to tell you about our personal experiences. And because we just came back from a lengthy trip, my husband is trying to catch up on some duties at home. And I hope that when I say I'm representing Terry as well as myself, you will trust the fact that he's given me his permission to speak on his behalf as well as my own. We were as shocked as any of you to hear the news about someone who we have loved and enjoyed through the years, and waited faithfully every Friday to get the mayor's report and the church services on the weekend, and all the things and all the good that he has done. But I've only known Greg, and Terry has, on a professional level. Any time that I've needed his services, I've called, and he's been there, whatever it was, and he has put it on at no charge, which always amazed me. And I know that Greg has never made a lot of money off in this profession, but he's been dedicated to the community and to each and every one of us. So we had never gone to dinner with Greg or had a drink or anything with Greg. It was always a professional level. And when I knew that he was spending some time in the Monroe County Jail, I made a phone call over there and asked that he be allowed to return my call as soon as possible. He did when he was released, and I spoke lengthily with him. I invited him to our home if he needed to talk to someone, and he took that offer up. And we were both concerned, Terry and I, of his welfare at the time, and didn't want to see him left alone in the home, because he just did not seem real stable and was very, very humiliated over his behavior and his actions, and I know he would have taken him back in a heartbeat if he had the opportunity. And as you know, I was directing that show at the time, so we were spending evenings at the theater. We gave him the key to our home and asked him to please accept our offer of staying in our home with us on the evenings, because we trusted Greg Hagan. And he took the key, and he had it for a week, and he spent one night with us. But did we wonder what happened to our key to our house? No, not at all. Not once, not for a minute. Since then, of course, he has returned the key, but also with the idea that if he needs us, we're there for him. And I hope that you will also be there for him when he needs you. And I ask myself, what would Jesus do? And Terry and I are in church every weekend, and we certainly can't quote out of the Bible, because we aren't that faithful, unfortunately, to sit and read the Bible. But what would Jesus do? And that's why we stepped up for our friend Greg Hagan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Larkin. Number 4, you know.
I think it's Mr. Hagan. Is number, who signed up fourth after Sharon? It's Mr. Hagan.
Okay, yeah, please, I'm sorry.
I thought he was in line after.
I'll be brief because I know you have a lot on your agenda. No offense, Scott, but I'm kind of used to being where you are. But a lot of you know me, Greg Hagan. 47 days ago, did something really stupid. You probably read about it in the paper. Steve Rundio is now my agent, so the book will be out in hardcover soon. Seriously, it changed my life in a lot of ways. 5 days in jail, I learned, if nothing else, I don't look good in orange, so you'll never see me deer hunting. I've done considerable counseling since then. For the record, I've seen a gentleman who's done family counseling in Winona, Minnesota for 43 years. I can give you his name, and I am not considered by this man who's a professional to be a sexual threat at all. And if you want his name, contact me. Biggest thing I'm ashamed of is that I violated the trust of the school board. Between myself and the school board, I've done many good things for the communities these people have served for 27 years. Later tonight, I'm hoping to get that chance back to earn your trust, and I can guarantee you that no one will be more motivated than myself to get that trust back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hagan. Number 5 on the list is Deanna.
I signed up thinking that we weren't on the agenda yet, but we are, aren't we?
Oh,
For powerlifting?
yes.
So you can ignore.
Okay,
Well,
so,
no, we do ask you to speak now to that particular topic unless Mr. Kling still, if he's here to talk about Mr. Hagan, maybe we want to have him go next. And
There were a few late arrivals after you already had the sheet up front.
okay.
You can take whoever's,
Okay, we'll go ahead then. Mr. Kling, do you want to come forward?
Oh, and my wife, Patricia Kling, wanted to say a few words too, if she could.
Okay.
My name is Wayne Kling, and I'm here on behalf of Greg Hagan. Now, we all know Greg Hagan pretty good. I mean, he's served his community since 1985. And a lot of us can call him a friend. And people make mistakes, bad judgments and things like that. I wouldn't want to be in his situation right now, and none of us would. We're not perfect. None of us, I'm sure we've all done things we regret doing, and some of us can talk openly to one another about problems, about situations, and other people keep things in, you know. I'm one, I try to be upfront with everybody and try to be honest, but I know Greg Hagan because I've talked to him in the library about certain things. I've talked to him about certain things he's done in the community. He knows me on a personal level. I trust him. I would trust, I don't see any problem of him coming to the school. I don't think some people are thinking, oh, maybe he's a sexual predator. Well, he's not, you know. If you really look at the world situation, there's motivations for whatever people do that are acceptable to some people and others. Right now we're having in the nation, the Secret Service had problems over there with Obama's thing, you know. A few of them maybe got fired, some of them stayed or whatever, you know. I mean, we have to be cautious, of course, of who we've got, who we trust and all that. But forgiveness is a very, very important thing. Our church teaches that. To give people a second chance. Don't throw them under the bus and pretend like we don't know them, you know. I mean, I know the man very well, and I would definitely give him a second chance. And I agree with Sharon Larkin and the other people that spoke, and I'm real proud of Sharon for doing that because, I mean, she's a pillar of the community, and what she does and what she says means something. And I hope people feel the same way for me too. You know, like we're going to have a big Civil War Day, June 2nd, and we got him taping our whole day, you know, for the community and all that. And I know the city council and people that I've talked to there have faith in Greg Hagan, and they would like to see him continue as a person that takes the sports, the community events, and the community update. So let's really get to our hearts and think, hey, forgiveness is a key for a good community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And did Mrs. Kling want to speak to this as well?
Hi, my name is Patricia Kling, and I'm here on behalf of Greg Hageman. I don't know Greg very well, but I do know that he wouldn't be here and in the limelight if it wasn't written in the newspaper, on the front page, in the police reports, and I might add before he went to court, in the court of law. To me, this is a terrible defamation of character of the victim and their families. And it's fuel for a gossip line and gossip in Tomah. I think it's just terrible. There are two different types of people in society. There are people that put positive things in society, and there are people that take from society. And Greg gives to the community. I think Tomah would be a much better community if people looked at the positive in what people do and not the negative.
Thank you very much. Did anyone else want to speak to this or something else that didn't sign up before we return to the powerlifting issue? Okay. Did you want to speak to the powerlifting now? Sure.
Well,
demonstration. As long as we don't have to live. Yeah, as long as we're not living.
No, you're fine, you can just,
You have a PowerPoint.
oh,
I'll put it on this.
okay.
Thank you.
You guys put it up a notch since committee meeting.
He did a good job.
Just hit that. Change it. Yeah.
Hello, good evening. My name is Chip Thompson. I teach math at the high school. Currently, right now, powerlifting is a club, and we're here tonight to see if we could make it a letter sport. Basically, I'm going to give you a brief history of what we've been doing. Started 4 years ago. 3 guys came up to my room and wanted to be in powerlifting. I said, sure, sounds good. It was something I did in high school. And then the year after that, well, 2 of those guys qualified for the state meet. Year after that, 5 members were on the team. 2 qualified for the state meet, and 1 of them finished in the top 5. And then the year after that, we had 8 members. We still had all male members. We had 3 second place team trophies in Division I, and 3 members competed at state. And then this last year, in Blossom, now we're starting to get female lifters. We've had 2 first place Division I male finishes and 1 second this year. 2 second place Division I female finishes. So the 3 females we had did well. 7 members qualified for the state meet. 1 didn't go, he had a sore back, and 1 couldn't afford the cost, so she decided not to go. Results of the state meet, those are the 5 members that went and their places. And the team actually tied for 6th in the state. So we're growing. There's a picture of our trophy case. We got a bunch of wraps, and I'll talk about those in a bit. And here's a little closer picture of this that shows what we've done so far. That's a quick introduction. What lifters do is after school from 3:30 to 5 they work out. I have a 4-day exercise program they do. The emphasis is on 3 major lifts of squat, bench, and deadlift. Those are the 3 lifts that they do at a competition, and places are based on the total of those 3 lifts. There's 3 regional meets a year. There's one in December with Wisconsin Dells, one at Pullman, and Necedah, about 1 a month. And then there is a last chance meet for someone who wants to make state who was close. The state meet changes every year in Wisconsin. It's basically the weekend, middle of the March. Friday after school, they have most of the female lifters lift. And then the following Saturday is like it's like 2 meets in 1. It's all day, all the rest of the lifters. And then there's a national meet. We actually had 2 lifters compete in the national meet this year that was in Wisconsin. I want to talk about cost quick. Knee wraps. This is our current inventory. Knee wraps. They're about $25 a piece. We have about 12 of them right now, but those wear out. I want to quick show you what a knee wrap is fast. They wrap them around their knees and they lose spring after a while, so I got to replace about 3 of these a year. These are brand new ones. We have wrist wraps, go around the wrist. We have a belt. Those are, like I said, $90 for what I have up there, $80 a piece. And those are all costs that I paid for, and we've got it up to this point. I do have the lifters buy their own power suit. Okay, it's $42, but it's about $45. I think Mr. Kern gave you that price. Well, with shipping and handling, it's $45. Each lifter has to pay $17 for each regional meet, and if they go to the state meet, it's another $50. Cost to me, that's about what I spend in gas, approximately. Worn out equipment, like I said, we need about 3 wraps now. We got pretty much almost all the inventory I need, except that the wraps wear out. I do buy t-shirts for them, so we can look like a team. And yeah, expansion costs. Now things growing, I have to buy more singlets. Another thing I want to I promise. Another thing I want to quick talk about is they have to wear this equipment at every lift. Okay, that way they can look at someone who's benching, can't go up there and wear baggy sweatpants. They have to wear like a wrestling singlet. It's just like a regular wrestling singlet. And those I have paid for. We got about 8 of those, and they share those. But this I make them buy. This is a squat suit. They wear this for squat and deadlift. It's a lot tougher. Those are the ones that are about $45. About as cheap as they get. You can get a bit more. This is worn by a lifter who blew it out, so it's not any good anymore. But anyway, and with expansion costs, I have to buy maybe a few more belts because these lifters can be lifting all at the same time, and it's just a scramble. Try to pass.
Speak now before we go on with the rest of the agenda.